Let me show you how to open a SIPP or a private pension as it's commonly known here in the UK. If you're an employee, especially if you're an expat like me, we can make expensive mistakes if we don't know what to do. So here in this video, I'll break it down into 5 easy steps on how to open a SIPP. And yes, I know what I'm doing because I've been managing my husband's SIPP for the last 5 years. And over the last 5 years, he's returned over 80%. So that equates to between 12 and 15% annually. So SIPP is a self-invested pension platform. And in other words, it's a private pension. This is slightly different to the SIPP in India. The SIPP in India is a systematic investment program. So that is just an investment, whereas in the UK, it's actually a pension. There are several reasons why you would invest in a SIPP. The SIPP is the main reason if you're over the 100K threshold or sometimes even the 50K threshold. Say, for example, if a person earned 101,000 a year, they may choose to contribute the additional 1,000 to a private pension to avoid the tax traps that comes with earning over 100K. The second reason is if you're self-employed. So with this, you do not have an employer contributing to your pension. It's just you contributing to a private pension. The third reason is if you have surplus money, because investing in a pension can be quite tax advantageous even compared to investing in an ISA. The fourth reason is if you want to combine old pension. So this is where you have old pensions from perhaps old employers. So if you have 2 or 3 previous jobs, you may have separate pension pots. And then you can open a SIPP and invest these separate pension pots into one nice rounded SIPP. So it's nice and tidy for you to manage. There's a couple of things here that you need to be aware of before you open a SIPP. First is a SIPP is not a replacement for a workplace pension. This is especially important because while you get the tax relief both in a SIPP as well as an employer's pension, the employer's contribution makes a workplace pension very, very valuable. So a SIPP can be alongside a workplace pension, but not instead of. The second thing is do not invest a lot of money into your pension. We all feel tempted because it's very tax advantageous investing in a pension because of the 40% or 45% tax relief that we may be getting. So there's a lot more money going in. That is a big advantage. But the disadvantage is you're taxed on the way out. The big advantage of a pension is if you can get the tax relief as at a higher band or as a 40% or a 45% taxpayer, and then when you withdraw it, you only pay 20% in taxes. So if you have a lot of pension money, then you're still at the higher rate taxpayer. So there's not a lot of tax advantage now and into the future. So while a private pension is extremely good, perhaps not a wise idea to invest a lot of money in your private pension. So there are 5 steps on how to open a SIPP. First is to choose a provider. And the main reason we would choose one platform over the other is the cost aspect of the provider. Because even 0.5%, while 0.5% doesn't seem like a lot of money, but even 0.5% for a large sum of money like a pension over 20-30 years can be a very significant lump sum. Do a compound interest calculator I'll put a link in the description if you want to run the numbers yourself. The other reason you would choose one platform over the other is ease of use. I have a free PDF. I'll put a link in the description box below if you want to check it out. It includes each platform and the associated fees with each platform, as well as the common funds within each platform. So if you want to check it out, check the description box below. The step number 2 is to choose your investments. And you do not need about 15 different funds in your platform. 2-3 funds is more than enough. A very good concept of understanding on how to choose platform is to have a core portfolio. So this should be 80% of your allocated funds. And this is very good if it's a global fund. So this is absolutely important. And some of you may want to just stop with this. 80 to 100% with the core portfolio of a globally diversified fund is good enough. But if you choose to have alternative investments, you may want to diversify in maybe 2 or 3 funds. A suggestion may be to invest in America because America owns 60% of the world. So maybe something like an S&P 500. Some people may choose to have a small holding in gold. And you may want to choose slightly higher risk investment like maybe an emerging market stock. This is a brief clip of my husband's portfolio. I do not want to show the funds because it'll come across as recommending funds. But as you can see, there's one core investment which contains about 80% of his portfolio, and there is 2 other smaller satellite holdings which is under 15% of the investments. This is the whole idea of having a core portfolio as well as satellite investments. The third step is actually investing the money. The absolute best way is to set up a direct debit, because with the direct debit it's just automatic savings. You don't have to wait for spare money. It's just part of your bills each month that gets paid automatically. The fourth step on opening a SIPP is to manage your risk, and there's several ways of managing your risk. By far the best method is the bucket strategy. You've probably heard other terms for this like time strategy or cash buckets. So it's all the bucket strategy. So with this, you have 3 buckets: a short-term bucket, a medium-term bucket, and a long-term bucket. And you may define the time frame for these buckets according to your risk profile. So short term is anywhere between 1 and 5 years. Medium is between say 3 to 7 years, and anything more than 7 years comes under the long term. So in the short term bucket is you only hold cash, and in the medium term bucket there's stocks as well as bonds, and in the long term bucket is only stocks. And the idea is as you get closer to retirement, you want to de-risk some of your money, but not all of your money because you still want the markets to boost your money. So the long-term bucket should be still invested as mostly stocks, but the short-term should be de-risked and kept mostly in cash, or maybe you want some bonds in there as well. And it depends on your risk profile at the end of the day. So say you're 55 and you want to retire at 60. At 55, you may want to de-risk 1 year worth of money into cash, and at 57, you may want to de-risk 2 years worth of cash. So that's the whole idea. As you get closer to your day of retirement, you want to de-risk some of the money but still keep most of your capital invested. And there's some funds that automatically do this. That is why the Vanguard Life Strategy funds are quite popular. The Vanguard Life Strategy has 100, 80, 60. So at 100, you would keep it only 100% in stocks. At 60 or 80, it's half stocks and half bonds. And then there's a Life Strategy 20 where it's mostly bonds. So you may want to consider that as a short-term strategy. Besides Vanguard, BlackRock Consensus also does the same thing. LNG also has a cautious and adventurous fund that does the same bucket strategy. If you want me to do a whole video on this, please let me know in the description box below or drop me an email. Fifth step, a lot of them miss this step, is to claim your additional tax relief. Investment platforms claim only up to 20% of tax relief from the government. If you're a 40% or a 45% taxpayer, you then need to do a self-assessment to claim the additional tax relief. So this is exactly the 5 steps I've taken to manage my husband's pension. If you're interested in the link to the PDF, check the description box below. Or if you want further explanation on any of the points I mentioned, let me know in the comments below as well. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.